Okay, so 2 wins right off the bat. Firstly, there's like 40 frames to make up this slow-mo shot. It's smooth as butter. Second win, and I'm not going to show it, it's a super fast except when slowed down panty shot. Also right off the bat, nice sounding song that transitions into sounding more action themed when the scene calls for it, just giving me the vibe of a well-fitting official soundtrack.
いや、間違っていたのかもしれない。なぜなら、彼女の体がとても
Levi from Attack on Titan. Guess what? You get a win for a super weird introduction. It's unique as all hell. Mix that with the intro to the episode that I couldn't show much of due to all the gore and such, and you've got a weird first 2 minutes and 40 seconds, that's for sure. Absolutely 100% the weirdest OP I've ever witnessed to date. Some massive fixation on a stapler, I'm sure that'll naturally come into play as the episodes develop, and a beautifully sung song that I'm guessing is very much about stapler related things. But all jokes aside, it was genuinely lovely sounding, and there was an Attack on Titan girl at the end, very fitting for a Levi anime. Take my win!
いいんじゃないのか。一見民主主義っぽくて。
相変わらず嫌な言い方するよね。
So the animation style is quite captivating. It's old school, so heavy reliance upon hand animation, and I love that. It's from a time of transition between the slightly old and now new to my eyes. Also, just a very quick reminder to help me out if you could with a like and a comment, and ensure you're subscribed more so now than ever with so many epic anime arriving on this channel during 2022 that you don't want to miss.
羽川翼、クラスの委員長。
Sexy cat lady.
戦場ヶ原さんがどうかしたの？
まあ、なんか気になって。
Going first person like it's no big deal whatsoever.
中学生の時はもっと元気いっぱいで明るい子だったんだけどね。
中学生の時って羽川、戦場ヶ原と同じ中学だったのか？
戦場ヶ原さん、すごく綺麗だったし、運動もできたから陸上部のスターだったんだよ。
It's hard to describe this win, so bear with me. I think the writing is very to the point, but also contains plenty of information. Certainly enough to warrant a second or even third watch to pick up on everything. That's my feeling thus far. On top of this, it flows very naturally, like a real conversation devoid of constant over-the-top personalities. Like, it suits the scene of 2 students discussing another student, if you know what I mean. Let me know your thoughts about the anime in general down below.
だから話だけならいろいろ聞いたもんだったよ。
She's also very kawaii, but do go on.
存在がとても儚げで。
存在が儚げ。
In an age where plenty of anime are choosing to focus on a scene of 2 characters speaking by getting a tight zoomed-in shot of their faces and merely moving their mouths, this strikes me as being a painstaking attempt to drive home the scene, environment, what they're talking about, emotions, thoughts, and everything in between. Even in this short segment, there's maybe 24 unique shots, and when you consider that they all had to be hand animated or drawn, it beggars belief the amount of work.
動かないで。
Unexpected cute girl threatening him out of nowhere related plot twist!
右側が寂しいの？だったらそう言ってくれればいいのに。
It's a bizarre win, I'll grant you that, but hey, I'm really happy the focus on the stapler wasn't just a weird anime creator being eccentric moment, but actually does make sense.
とにかく私が欲しいの。沈黙と無関心だ。沈黙と無関心を約束してくれるのなら2回うなずいてちょうだい。
Another example of what I was referring to in win number 12, the voice acting is spot on and to the point. She's really derived of her expression, but at the same time expressing everything all the same. It's hard to put into words accurately, but one thing it achieves is the scene gains my full attention and tension naturally rises. Running on the spot for 3 lengths of a hallway and then loads of stairs. Are they mad? I don't understand how it's possible that she wielded that as a weapon of sorts, but I'm giving a whim of the likely unintentional comedic element of it.
ここに来てそんなことを言うなんて。あなた、私をはめたわね。
I can't can't get over the amount of stylistic shots and angles. The camera work is incredible. I can't spend the next 14 episodes shouting it out, but just know it was certainly noticed.
分かってるよ。
むしろあなたが感謝しなさい。
わからねえぞ。
不死身って便利そうねって言われたら傷つく。
今はそうでもない。
あら、そう。
This is just super abstract looking. Insanely unique and creative is the best way to put it.
それにしても、よくこんな今にも壊れそうなビルに住んでいるわね。その押野って人。
ああ。
Incredibly unexpected cowboy bebop type music. I've got memories flowing over me. And in case you're curious, I've covered that anime on my channels. You should watch it. The views were oddly and sadly terrible against the sheer amount of work and effort I put into the 2 videos.
なんだい荒木くん。今日はまた違う女の子を連れているんだね。
Regan from Mob Psycho 100 and Suzuki from Code Geass.
じゃあ、なんて呼べばいいんだよ。
戦場ヶ原様。
戦場ヶ原様。
カタカナ発音はいただけないわ。
いって失明するだろうが。
出現するからよ。
Certainly not hating on her character's unique factor. Also loving how the anime protected my ad revenue by not showing the eye poke directly. Arigato!
銅 40g、亜鉛 25g、ニッケル 15g、照れ隠し 5g に悪意 97kg で私の暴言は連成されているわ。
一番抜いちゃいけない要素が抜けちゃった。
Levi is perfect to voice this character for the comedic moments. It's very similar to how we voiced Yato in Noragami to my ears.
面白い。
九州の山あいあたりでの民間伝承だよ。地域によって重しカニだったり、重石カニ、重しガニ。
Introducing this element to the anime, that of otherworldly beings, well explained, not just lightly touched on for the particular episode and then moved on from, allowing for a nice bit of tasty lore too. Very simple visuals in this one, not a great deal to go over other than looking unique, but it was the song which captivated me with equally beautiful singing to the OP, music to my ears.
母親が怪しい宗教にハマってしまってね。財産を全て貢いだどころじゃ済ま。
As always, I'll avoid showing it, but shower scene and she spanked her butt. That's literally a first time ever during an anime for me.
吸血鬼だもん。仕方ないよ。何でもかんでも愛に吸血鬼のせいにするな。払える？
The music isn't always the most outstanding tunes you've ever heard, but it certainly fits the scene each time and the vibe they're going for, which is always seemingly changing from moment to moment, so that's well scored.
最初から来てろって言ってんだ。
持って入るのを忘れていたのよ。
だったらタオルで隠すとかしやがれ。
Yeah, I like her character. Obviously physically, which I've heavily alluded to twice now, and by heavily alluded to I mean outright said it, but also her personality, how she talks and carries herself. It's quite unique and captivating for a female main character.
童貞であることを前提に話が進んでいるぞ。認めましょう。僕は童貞野郎です。
一番ダメなやつは一番愚かなだけなのに。
いや、僕はそこまでは言ってません。
そう言うと思ってさっき書いておいたわ。
そんな手回しがありえるか。
You know, it's quite original. They're tossing back and forth the metaphorical comedy ball. Not sure how many times I've ever witnessed that. Normally you get the Joker and the straight man, as it were. Well played.
せっかく来たのになんで脱ぐんだよ。お前、ひょっとしてただのバカなんじゃないか？
失礼なことを言わないでくれるかしら。
I'm showing this newspaper clipping or magazine or whatever it is because she's in underwear a lot and your boy's got to be careful. But take a win for realism here. She's taken like a solid couple of minutes to get into and out of various pieces of clothing. It's really methodical and cannot be forgotten that it's beautifully hand animated.
ほら、月の模様って日本からだとウサギが餅をついてるように見えるけれど、海外からだとカニだったり美人の横顔だったりするって言うから。
I'm really glad this wasn't just left to the viewer's imagination or for the sake of being overly convoluted or poetic in conversation. I can't show the question, but she asks what he meant by like the patterns of the moon during episode 1, and this was the logical explanation that followed.
あなたも行くのよ。
なんで？
あら、知らなかったの？カニってとっても美味しいのよ。
So obviously I like her, I've mentioned that, but on top of her relentless teasing of him, there's also a sense of affection present, maybe stemming from a feeling of superiority? I don't know, but it's there, and it leads to moments like this for them as a couple that I'm quite fond of already.
言ったろ？相手は神様なんだよ。だから退治するのではなく、今から僕たちはね、神様にお願いするんだよ。
Stuff like this is convoluted and unique. It's not simple in premise. There's a demon, we summon the demon, we fight it, and everything is cool. There's way more to it than that, and as a result, it's got me feeling like it's quite the expansive world and lore. It's a lot like Jujutsu Kaisen thus far for me in that regard.
ただしここに降りてきてもらうためには手順が必要だけどね。
I cannot get over the sheer volume of angles and shots. It's mind-blowing when you slow things down for a minute and actually allow your brain to process it.
4つ5つ6つ7つ8つ
It's a small change, but even the shaded style is enough to change the vibe of the scene.
お母さんが
悪い宗教にハマったこと、
それだけかい。
それだけって。
Getting to see this vulnerable side to her when discussing her mother's past is an excellent piece of character building. Seriously impressive when that switch was turned.
やってきてどうした？
儀式だと言って私に。
Damn, man. That got seriously dark all of a sudden, adding a massive dose of realism to the scene, and again further shows us this different side to her.
お母さんは私を助けてくれなかった。
そして
私がその幹部に怪我をさせたせいで。
Also though, let's just mention this surreal art style they've dived into, really nicely feeding that creepy side to the story she's telling. It's probably one of the best storytelling mechanics I've ever witnessed outside of literally talking about a scene and the choice of music they pick to accompany it. This is something else entirely.
そうだったら言うべきことがあるんじゃないか。
Even though I never doubted it, they can have a win for a physical representation of what's causing her issue.
新変更だ。やむをえん。よっ。こら、せっちゃ。
Goodness me, this dude is actually quite the badass, isn't he?
お願いします。どうか私の重みを返してください。どうかお母さんを私に返してください。
Brilliant voice acting from her in general right here.
自ら進んでズルをした。
別に悪いことじゃないんだけどね。
Beautiful music right here, mixing with the scene to an outstanding degree as the feelings and emotions wash off of her. That was really nicely done.
ずうずうしいかもしれないけれど、これからも仲良くしてくれたら私とても嬉しいわ。
今日は全国的に母の日だった。お母さんが好きな人でも嫌いな人でも
So many freaking shots and angles. I'm shocked. My eyes can barely register everything. To say this was a shocking turn of events is putting it lightly. This slapped me like an ED from Summer Spider So What, with his hard-hitting, head-banging song and bright and colourful visuals being an absolute contrast to the anime in general thus far. I liked it. It was weird and unexpected, and like I said, so at odds with everything I've seen so far. Just felt oddly refreshing.
あらあら、これは犬の死体が捨てられていると思ったら、なんだ、荒木くんじゃないの。
Oi, 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 she's back to her normal self. Not hating it, I like her, and can't help it.
仲良くね。荒木くん。私は荒木くんのこと親しく思ってもいいのかしら。
そういう戦場ヶ原は？
私はついこの間までよ。もっと言うなら荒木くんに出会うまで。
I literally don't even know why I find these simple moments quite so captivating, but I just do. I think it's a great mixture of music and voice acting, then mixed with different angles. It naturally draws my attention, I think.
世界征服でも永遠の命でもこれから地球にやってくるサイヤ人を倒してほしいでも。
お前はシェンロンをも超える力を持っているというのか？
Dragon Ball Z reference! Also, though, they animated this. They're crazy dedicated, I swear.
運転バイクに乗ったところで妹に捕まったんだ。で、口論。
口論
Really interesting art style changes in this one. I can honestly say I've never seen anything like it in over 4,000 episodes of anime watched. And if you're thinking I'm a freak counting them mentally, I've been listing them on my anime list for years and they do the counting for me. How dare you!
それとも愛情の裏返しってやつなのかしら。 案外荒木くんシスコンだったりして。
Super unexpected literal change of animation style right there.
いや、そういうのは別にないな。
そう。
まあ今度ジュースでもおごってくれよ。それでチャラってことにしようぜ。
そう。無欲なのね。
It's quite interesting how within their massively long and detailed conversations, it often boils down to one doing something the other still didn't expect. Like, in spite of her high intellect, she never thought he'd be likely to turn down what looked to be an offer to become his girlfriend, likely leading to that response. It's not the greatest win in the world, but it is an example of how much thought goes into what they're actually saying. So random. Really didn't think that would happen. They're fighting! Who would have thought they'd end up fighting? What's even happening right now?
カタツムリを漢字で書きゃ牛って入っているでしょうが、渦巻きの渦の三髄を虫編に変えてそれで牛、カタツムリだよ。
Credit to the writers actually deep diving on more than one occasion on the extreme complexity of the Japanese written language. It's incredible to me how complicated it can be compared to English.
いいのよ。
あ、そう。じゃあ行くぞ、あちくじ。
Really bizarre to me to witness the girl now acting in this manner towards him given their fight at the end of the previous episode, but it's still nice to see. It's got that cuteness aspect to it.
ツーリングだよ。
ツーリングですか。かっこいいです。ツーリングといえばやはりバイクですよね。とても惜しい感じです。
Cutest misunderstanding of the word to my mind.
そういえばあらららぎさんは。
だが一個多いぞ。
失礼、噛みました。
気分の悪い噛み方してんじゃねえよ。
Also take another one here for how the shape of the episode seems to change dependent upon who the focus is on. With it right now being the young girl, the music changes to fit her personality, the dialogue adapts, it becomes very different.
あ？
何度言ってもたどり着けないんですから。
あちくじ。
私はいつまでもたどり着けないんです。
Dual motion rotating shots like it's easy to animate. Oh, be careful and just show the last bit, but to be clear, he got the knockout once again.
5月14日日曜日14時15分30秒戦場ヶ原の携帯番号を入手した瞬間だった。
I feel his excitement, just like when my boy Iruma-kun got the student council president's number in Welcome to Demon School Iruma-kun. That got a win, and so does this. I feel you.
ホッチキス。
She's using the stapler again.
どうかされましたか。あららららぎさん。
今度はラが2個多いからな。
失礼、噛みました。
Her consistently getting his name wrong is quite hilarious, especially adding way more Ras than required.
今日家を出るとき、妹とちっと口論しちまってな。
私のお父さんとお母さんも喧嘩ばかりしてました。
Also keeping the story in mind during these conversations, circling back once again to his sister and the argument they had, but also circling back around to conversation habits is a nice touch, like how they slightly repeat the same thing later on or in the next episode. Goes to show how much effort is put into these sometimes seemingly innocuous conversations.
このままずっと会えなければお母さんのこと好きじゃなくなっちゃうんじゃないかってとても不安です。
Loving some of these actual art style changes more in the same vein of what I normally shout at in my videos, like this chalk-styled one.
お前は座りのいい立派な骨盤をした暗算型だからきっと元気な赤ちゃんが産めると思うぜってこの間私に言ってくれたじゃない。
あ、ただの変態野郎じゃねえか。
I absolutely adore the humour behind that line. Purely, I think, because I jokingly do the exact same thing with my wife, laughing whilst quoting a nonsense phrase she never said to prove a point.
羽川さん来てたのね。
まあ来てたよ。もう帰ったけれど、たまたま通りかかったんだ。
Nice to see this sudden jealous side to her. Clearly she does have some genuine affections towards him that's been nicely built up by several comments during their conversations the past few episodes.
その子私には見えないのよ。
Wow. That was a really interesting twist that I didn't see coming a mile off, and now it's flooding back to me that she never once interacted directly with her. Nice forming of the shadow too here to indicate the snail part.
母親の写真を見ても、それが本当に自分の母親なのかどうかわからなくなっていました。だから一人娘は母親に会いに行くことにしました。
I just mentioned a serious art style change that I love to call out, and then they give us this, really leaning into the child aspect of the story, as though the child is telling it through those visuals. It's super inventive and creative.
戦場ガーラはまたおかしくなっただなんて思いたくなくて、おかしくなってしまっただなんて思いたくなくて、でいない八九時のことを見えているふりをした。
Excellently avoiding any potential plot hole by giving a 100% logical reason why she acted how she did in the lead up to the final reveal.
僕が聞きたかったのはこいつを八九時をお母さんのところに一体どうやったら連れて行ってやれるかってことだ。
To me it says quite a lot about his character that A, he's held on to her in a comforting way since the reveal, and B, he still is thinking about her and how he can help her rather than, now knowing that she's a spirit, merely walking away without a care.
お前には聞こえなかったんだよな、戦場ガーラ。こいつは僕に対しても羽川に対してもとんでもないことを抜かしやがったんだ。
話しかけないでください。あなたのことが嫌いです。
ついてきてほしくないからって会う人間全員にそんなセリフを言わなくちゃいけない奴の気持ちがお前にわかるってのか。
Also, now it makes amazing sense why she interacts with people in that way right off the bat. Man, the explanation mixed with everything that came before it during the previous episodes is actually kind of mind-blowing.
でも、会に行き合ってから2年以上、私の抱えている問題に気づいた人は、荒木くんみたいなのは荒木くんだけだったから。
This is a decent reveal that's not delved into but serves to further the morality of his character, as she mentions that there had been others who had figured out her issue, but obviously offered no help, clearly didn't care, or were persuaded to stay away by her threats. But he went out of his way, even after being threatened, to save her. They even give an example of this during the next episode, with it being Kanbaru who had figured it out.
それから荒木くん。
なんだ。
I love you. おめでとうございます。
I'm 99% sure with my limited Japanese that she said happy birthday, but I wouldn't bet my house on it, but if she did, that's hilarious in that instance and that reaction.
ただいま帰りました。
The feelings!
だって荒木くん、誰でも助けるんだもの。でも助けられたのが私じゃなくても、荒木くん、強いて言うなら私はただ荒木くんと話すのが楽しいだけ。
Take one here for these facial reactions. For her especially, they're so incredibly varied, and it's likely made easier by the cutaway shots used so frequently anyway, but still there's dedication there to do it in so many ways to represent her personality and eccentric behavior in the best of ways.
でもまだそんなに話してないだろ。
そうね。だからもっとあなたと話したい。
Also, take a win here for her being the one to express her feelings towards him. That's pretty rare in these kinds of anime. Hell, it's even rare in rom-com anime. Furthermore though, it serves to be right in line with her way of thinking differently and how she carries herself. So it fits for multiple reasons and is quite refreshing and obviously unexpected.
荒木くん、一応言葉にしておいてくれるかしら。
言葉に。
なあなあの関係は嫌だから。
Genuinely lovely end to the episode. I didn't hate her being that forward one iota. Made me feel warm and fuzzy inside. Take a win for skipping the ED in order to give us the viewer more precious final moments.
荒木さん。
それだと「ら」が少ないからな。
失礼、噛みました。
Also, take another one for not just having her disappear. That was a really nice touch.
あ、荒木さん。
荒木だ。
失礼、噛みました。
I don't think I'll ever not be entertained by her consistent flubbing of his name.
黙れ。上げてもない足を取ろうとするな。
Also though, it's pretty much guaranteed a win every time they fight. Another brand new OP! Colour me shocked and surprised. They're really doing it for every new character arc, which is quite interesting. Take that win for dedication to the characters and mainly to the animation team, who have to put in all the work for them.
私のような弱敗がやるようなことは全てお見通しなのだな。決まり じが悪くて面早い限りではあるが。
Okay, again, it is a small thing that I mentioned before, but I love how the style changes each time. They really go for a different theme that fits the character. It feels like the music changes slightly, the animation style like here, whilst keeping the bread and butter the same.
ラダダギさん。
あちくじ、僕の名前をミュージカルみたいに歌い上げるな。戦場ガーラ、お前はどうするんだ？
進学ね。多分推薦取れるから。でも私はできれば荒木くんと同じ道に進みたいものなのだけれど、卒業したら同棲でもする。それなら互いの進路が分かれたところで一緒にいられる時間は今よりもむしろ増えるくらいでしょう。
No one ever does this! It's incredibly shocking, but way more realistic to everyday lives. I'm still shocked though, anime. You've shocked me! Weird win, but take one here for writing out English like this. Not only is it correct from what I checked over, but usually in anime, it'd be scribbles.
あの子がどうかしたの？荒木くん。
Incredibly jealous girlfriend-related plot twist of eye-twitching anxiety! They can take a first time 2 maximum wins for this, and the shock of the plot twist and how well the brutal attack was animated so beautifully, but also for the attack itself, with the brutality only adding to the moment that genuinely had me slack in the jaw for a minute.
そう、じゃあそんな荒木くんに大サービス。動けるようになるまで幸せな気分でいなさいね。
Such a weird intro to the episode, but I suppose I shouldn't be caught off guard by her lack of emotions, as that's pretty much who she is inside now, but it's still a little weird, I won't lie. They almost shocked me as much with her lack of reaction than the attack did itself. Awesome example of mixing hand-drawn animation and CGI to great effect.
まあ、こういうことなのだが。
So I was waiting to win this, and purely because I was conflicted as to whether or not it was literally her who attacked him, but now it's confirmed. So take that almost equally shocking win, I figured it'd be an aberration or something.
私はくすぐったがりなのだ。
だからっていきなりこれまでのキャラを崩すような小姉を上げてんじゃねえよ。
That fourth wall be breaking!
私はレズなのだ。荒木先輩は男。
This.
これで少しでも戦場ヶ原先輩が救われるというのなら、それを私は良しとできる。
Incredible matching up of the lips and speech right there. These visuals are awesome in terms of how they link up to her powerful emotions, being wrapped up by her feelings for her, barely able to move as a result, and her head filled with staples or thoughts of her perhaps.
ウエストのあたりなんか程よくくびれて引き締まったいい体をしているのだ。
This entire 3-minute long conversation can have its own win. She's offering up herself for some reason that would never work physically to him, and then there's talk about underwear, but it's very funny all in all, and goes by extremely fast for a 3-minute long segment.
お嬢ちゃん、その手はもともとはミイラだったんだっけ？それがお嬢ちゃんと同化することによって生命を得たとなると、さしずめレイニーデビルかな。
Yet another new and unique monsterだ!
カンバルは陸上部に入らなかった。猿の手に願った願いがいつまで効力を持っているかわからない以上、自分より早いかもしれない人間がいるところに身を置くわけにはいかなかったからだ。
Says quite a lot about her character that instead of potentially risking the lives of more students that she chose to undertake basketball. That way no one would have to race against her and potentially trigger the lingering spirit from the poor to attack them in turn. Also take a win for being quite creative with how these girls become afflicted. The creator could merely have made it all ghosts or gods or something unseen, but instead some are just that and others are physical like the poor.
雨がっぱの化け物はどうして同級生を？
お嬢ちゃんが同級生をぶちのめしたかったからだろ。荒木くんを襲撃することこそがお嬢ちゃんの意志だったのさ。
Double plot twist!
契約は果たせなければ無効になる。悪魔がお嬢ちゃんの願いを叶えられなければ、お嬢ちゃんの願いも無効になるさ。
Coming up with such an interesting way of defeating the demon, that being forcing it to fail in making one of her wishes come true. I like that a lot.
まるごめん
足使えるのは左腕だけじゃないのか
They can take a maximum 2 wins right off the bat for just how damn impressed I was by the start to this battle. Never did I think it'd be so action-packed, fluid and smooth. That was stunning and right up there with the very best of them.
切り落としてくれ。こんな左手いらない。
何バカなこと言ってんだ
Learning that she was fully committed to having her arm lopped off and that it was him who put pay to that idea. Sadly, this one gets super expressive with its take on violence in the scene, but all the same, once more, that animation is a thing of damn beauty.
おしん僕の携帯を使ったのか
The fact that Meme actually does care about him being shown in this scene.
まあ、大きなお世話も余計なおせっかいもありがた迷惑も荒木くんにされるならそんなに悪くはないのかもしれない。
This entire scene, her words towards him filled with a unique form of kindness rarely seen from her. It was oddly very sweet.
いいちゃん、朝だぞこら。いい加減に起きないとダメだよ。もう。
Take one more for this episode as they skip the ED and she's turned back to normal, except for the arm that is, and it just had a really wholesome feel to it, backed up by that lovely song playing.
せーの。でもそんなんじゃダメ。もうそんなんじゃほら。心は進化するよもっともっと。
I'll be real, utterly captivated by that OP. It made me smile. I was tapping away furiously like a drum beat on my keyboard. I got this little wrist bit. I wasn't banging on keys. And I think the editing was top notch with the floating words in the background and her in the foreground. Lovely animation, facial reactions, fantastic.
目いっぱい可愛がってもらってきなさいと言われた。それとこうも言われた。
I'm still in love with the unique shots taken in this one. What is such a short scene is incredibly difficult to animate, involving so many frames done by likely one person. Hats off to the animators, man. Also at this point, I'll shout out everyone's voice actors. I know I've highlighted some already, but they all fit their characters scarily well, so have that win.
その間に僕はこの札貼ってくるから
申し訳ないが、仕事の方は荒木先輩に任せることにする。
Combining the music and this style of animation really did an amazing job of creating tension out of thin air.
カンバルさんのこと大変だったねって。はいどうぞ。
There's an abundance of kawaii ladies in this one.
無益だとは思わない。
僕にとっては無益どころか有害だ
そう、つまり有害図書を。
I adore comedy like this. Her constantly crawling around trying to find his dirty books.
何そんなまさかあの時店内には誰もいなかったはずだ僕はちゃんと確認
This is like the ultimate bunch of art style changes out of nowhere. Sadly, I can't show much of the ED, but safe to say they can take a win here for it changing slightly in terms of its visuals.
あんなに締め付けられて、その痛くないのか、戦国ちゃんは。
痛いはずだって押野は言ってた
Yet another unique element affecting another girl. I kind of like the pattern as well, from crab to snail to monkey to snake. That's quite an interesting series of events thus far.
痛い時は痛いでいいんだ
その通りだぞ。
縛られることをまだしもと表現する理由も暗に精神的なきつさを除外した理由も僕には分からねえよカンバル
She's really grown on me since the start of her own arc a few episodes ago. She nicely reacts in different ways to his girlfriend, creating lots of comedic situations, and she balances him out well too.
この前だってなでこの自転車直してくれたし。そんなことないです。ララちゃんいいな。お兄さんのこと小闇お兄ちゃんって。
Getting to see a little more of her history, especially when mixed with that music, a variation of her personal OP, which I love so much that I've listened to it twice now. Such a great catchy tune. Some of the smoothest running animation I've ever seen from a TV anime, and the plot twist that she's afflicted by 2 snake curses at the same time. Just couldn't show much of that due to what she's wearing. Again, shows so much of his character that he willingly puts himself into danger.
だがカンバル、それじゃ戦国に振られたっていうあの男の子のところに蛇が。
荒木先輩頼むから。
Same win as the last one, really? He even wants to save some lad who put down the curse in the first place, but this is what I mentioned before about her being a great counterpart to his character and how she handles this.
一日一緒にうちにいるなんてゾッとする。恋しくて愛しくて止まらないせめてこの心は。
So this one is very simple. I like the song. It's got another unique vibe to it that I dig, but if I'm being honest, I'm not a huge fan of 3D and 2D anime, you feel me? Plus they show some lady jubblies and force me to edit it out. How dare you give me extra work?
改めてお礼と思って。
It's a reasonably small thing, but credit where it's due for how shadows are dealt with throughout. They're so consistently present and well done that it hadn't even occurred to me until now. I got serious vibes from Konosuba Season 1 right there. I'm not even joking.
に怪異に責任を求めるのは間違っている。あいつらはただ単にそういう風にそうであるだけなんだが。
That's just straight up gorgeous right there.
ああ、羽川。こいつ昨日話した。
She's a very cute character, excellently voiced as well. Brilliant example, so close together of how the animators can do differing styles.
ゴールデンウィーク4月29日から5月7日の日曜日までの9日間。
おい、羽川。
Finally getting some background information on her and how she actually became involved with Meme at the same time. I've been wondering this for a straight like 9 or 10 episodes now.
彼女は猫に見せられた。
Kawaii!
別にいいよ。でもだからとりあえず私の言うことが分かったって言うんなら差し当たっては荒木くん。
I really do love this anime's music. There's so many that I've heard now that click with me and remind me of vibes from other anime or video games and such. Very much enjoyed how varied they are.
デートをします。
Not gonna even lie, her being back in the anime after being gone for a few episodes is worth its own win.
えい。
Also though, she's looking good as always, and it's a win, because I've talked about this in another video, but basically hairstyles almost never change, along with clothing and anime, so when I see a change like this, I shout it out.
答えてよ。私のこと好き。何よ。答えてくれないの荒木。まさか私のこと好きじゃないのかしら。
Such a tense situation born purely out of her father being the one driving them.
たまにならカンバルの家でもいいわね。
なぜここでカンバルが出てくる？
あの子とも少しは遊んでやらなくちゃいけないのよ。
This moment shows consistency to her character. After saving him and reconnecting with Kanbaru, she's not now an entirely changed person, caring for this girl she had no feelings for all this time. Instead, she's doing it because she promised her, and that's that.
荒木くんの中の判断基準、価値基準を揺るがせておくのよ。そうすれば
Yet more straight up fantastic looking and smooth visuals.
はい、荒木暦です。
そうか。娘をよろしく頼む。荒木くん、聞いているとは思うが、僕は絵に描いたような仕事人間でね。
Yuppie from Hunter x Hunter.
そして今回だ。両方君が絡んでいる。あの子を変えることができるなんて、荒木くんは本当に大したものだと思う。
This entire scene was just way more wholesome than I ever expected. Thrilled to hear Yuppie's voice again as well. I really must rewatch Hunter x Hunter.
どうかしら荒木くん。
すげえ。正直言葉にならない。
Probably the best one of these I've ever seen in anime. Pure art.
あのゲスが私にしようとしたことを荒木くんとするのは正直言って怖いわ。私は今荒木くんを嫌いになることがとても怖い。
Way more of a pure reaction from her than I thought I'd get. Really surprised at that, especially her showing that vulnerable side that's so rarely seen. It's also turned this into like a genuinely romantic moment as a result too.
かわいいなかわいいな。
村ラギさんじゃないですか。
人のことを欲求不満みたいな名前で呼ぶな。
失礼、噛みました。
Definitely take one more final win here for their interactions. Believe it or not, I found myself even on days where I wasn't writing the script or where she wasn't in the episode saying to myself, I flubbed it or I stuttered randomly. So obviously it had an impact on me.
私の声を担当している声優さんは優秀なのよ。
声優？この世界ってアニメだったの？
Not only breaking the fourth wall, absolutely bloody smashing it!
美味しくて愛しくて止まらないせめてこの心は。
So I love the song on this one and the visuals are great, especially how epically smooth it is with the scene of her running, but they felt the need to again inject nakedness into it, so I gotta cut a whole bunch of it, but still, take that win all the same, you feel me? Also though, being nice to animals is always a win.
行かないわよ。私は行かない。
おい、戦場があら。
だって私には文化祭の準備があるもん。羽川さんに任されたのよ。
This is good because even though at first glance it would seem that she's being obstinate for no reason, she acts in the interest of others whom she's promised to help, no matter what it is. So she's not entirely self-indulgent and or cruel, there's a lot more to her than meets the eye.
どうしたにゃ。
猫、僕が今から言う文章を復唱しろ。
For the final time, just take one here for the really inventive style changes. It's easily rivaled the amazing Mob Psycho 100 overall.
にゃにゃめ77度のにゃらびでにゃくにゃくいにゃにゃくにゃにゃはんにゃにゃだいにゃんにゃくにゃらべてにゃがにゃがめ。
あいつを見捨てるなんてこと僕にできるわけないだろう。あいつには殺されたって文句は言えないんだ。
Just really does explain everything we need to know about his character. He's incredibly loyal to a fault.
お前のことが好きにゃんだにゃ。
I didn't see this coming! Plot twist!
ご主人はお前のことが好きにゃのに、お前は別の相手と付き合ってんだろ。そしてそれをまざまざ。
For the final time of this video, take a much appreciated win for the sheer beauty in this anime's animation.
ご主人にとって人間と吸血鬼の物語はいかにも荒唐無稽で、自身の
Getting to see even just a little piece of the events which led into episode 1.
僕はあの性格を含めて戦場ヶ原のことが好きなんだ。
I know he's already verbalized it once as they laid under the stars together, but it's definitely nice to see him do it once where it counts because it's an important moment and she happens to not be present.
だとしたらさっきみたいに責めるようなこと言うのは酷なのかもしれないな。
It's a really small thing, but I love how this scene from the start of episode 1 is now being used again in a different format during episode 15. That's a nice touch, giving a feel of wrapping up the whole season in a neat and tidy bow.
羽川が僕を殺せば戦場ヶ原は確実に羽川を殺す。ダメだ、これは最低最悪の手段だ。
Just being careful, but him clocking that this was the worst possible outcome was incredibly tense, and I hope also born out of not wanting to be without her, on top of knowing she'd kill his friend should he die there.
忍ぶ。
Plot twist! Goodness me, that animation was a thing of pure, cold, hard beauty! Take a maximum 2 wins for that!
今度のデートは荒木くんがプランニングしなさい。変なところに連れて行ったら皮を剥ぐわよ。
Such a weird lady, but I do still really like her in all honesty. She's got such a weird way about her that I find utterly unique for a female main character.
今ならわかる。昨日ここを訪れた際、押野が野外に出ていたのは、あれは撤収作業の最中だったのだ。
Such a nice touch that he was on the roof and seemingly randomly at the time waving to a passing Levi, but now it makes sense that he was actually saying goodbye in his own way right there. It's actually quite sad to me for some unknown reason.
そうね、あれだわ。
あれだよね。 実際あの人はあれに違いない。
お人よし。
Yeah, go on then. Have a final win here for the anime as a whole, with its excellent world building, style, unique attributes, animation quality, and strange vibe. Let me know what you thought of the video. That would mean a lot to me, as well as a like and sharing the video to anyone who might be interested in it. You can also help to support my work by pledging on my Patreon anything you like from $1 upwards, and you can even pick what I win in the future, so check it out using the link in the description below. And of course, as always, I'll see you in whatever video you choose to watch next. Nathan Bird, Bird Without a Word, Tyler Warner, Ali 50, Kawada Takashiro, Ted L, Isael Caldera, Mr. Waffle 64, Kieran Robinson, Chris Harris, Yona Stahl, Manolo Saucedo Munoz, Steelers, Matthew Blanchett, Kim Munt, Manuel Morales, Conito, Dark Lord Bloody Soul, Blitzcloud, Orekeeper, Kepha, Jeffa 6263, Magnus, Kevin Nelter, Brendan Krier, Kaj Vorzelman, Sean Graves, The Epic Commander, Galaxy Fox 22, Leaf Arn Hammer, Sentimento, Gaten 2000, Storm 970, Inakali Underwater, Your Ed Vincent.